Awesome. So I'm going to admit everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I always like to do emoji check-ins. So drop an emoji in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling. All right, so we're going to get started at like 6:03 just to give some people a chance to hop on last minute. Keep dropping the emojis in the chat. Yes, loving it. Sleepy. I'm feeling that, Bianca. All right, everyone. Since it's recorded and just to be mindful of time, I want to maximize the amount of time that you have for questions because I think that's where all the good stuff is in these kinds of meetings. Let's go ahead and get started. Um, so welcome everyone to the 2024 MiMentor Health Equity Fellowship information session. We are so happy to have you here. And we hope that you get to get all of your questions answered. We are joined by all 5 of our fellows, and then our fellow advisor, Bianca, and then 2 of our team members, Sienna and I, and you will get to meet us all in a little bit. So let's see, just so we know what to look forward to ahead, we will have a brief introduction and understanding of the fellowship and then go over a quick overview of the application process. We'll get to meet the Health Equity Fellowship team, the people who helped to bring this project to life, and then get to meet our inaugural class of Health Equity Fellows. And then the rest of the time will be for questions and answers. So let's go ahead and forge ahead. So real quickly, we will start today's meeting with a land acknowledgement, which is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. We acknowledge that this virtual seminar is taking place throughout the unceded territory of California, home to nearly 200 tribal nations. I acknowledge and honor the original inhabitants of our various regions. The land acknowledgement is a critical step towards working with Native communities to secure meaningful partnership and inclusion in the stewardship of their cultural resources and homelands. I recognize and honor these ancestral grounds that I reside and learn upon, and support the resilience and strength that all Indigenous people have shown worldwide. I am currently speaking with you from my home in Sylmar, California, which is in LA County, and on the traditional unceded territory of the Pasenga citizens of the Fernandeño Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. All right, everyone, thank you for that. Let's go ahead and move forward.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Sienna Martinez, and I am the co-coordinator for the Health Equity Fellowship and Summer Internship along with Steph. I wanted to go ahead and share our mission here at MiMentor. We aim to develop and support innovative and inclusive mentorship of individuals underrepresented in medicine to support the next generation of diverse healthcare leaders, working to reduce health disparities for underserved communities. So a little bit more information about our Health Equity Fellowship, which this will be our 2nd year of having it. Huge thank you and shout out to our inaugural cohort fellows. Y'all are awesome. And Steph, of course, she's an amazing coordinator. So our program overview is this is an 8-month part-time fellowship that is designed for post-undergraduate students. So by the start of the fellowship, you will need to have obtained your bachelor's degree, and the commitment is 20 hours per week. A little bit about our placement and partner sites for the upcoming year. We will have sites in Southern California and the Central Valley. We will have a site at San Diego with the National Core and Hope Through Housing, South Central Family Health Center, San Bernardino County Department of Mental Health, Kauai Health in Visalia, and Family Healthcare Network in Fresno. So there are two parts of our fellowship, one of them being our educational component. In addition to the hours completed at each partner site, there are 2 monthly workshops that feature respected guest speakers focusing on various health equity related subjects. Some examples could be environmental justice. There was some just general social drivers and structural drivers of health, and just different topics across health equity. So health disparities, policy, mental health, suicide, community outreach. The second component is the Health Equity Project. And this is something that's a little bit more long-term. So our fellows are responsible for developing a project that addresses health disparities and the social drivers of health for their respective sites and surrounding communities. And we will have the opportunity for a Q&A at the end of this session where we have the opportunity to ask our fellows about their current projects.
All right. So a quick overview of the application. It is lengthy, so definitely treat it like the beast that it is and respect it, and be sure to give yourself time because you can do it like in one really long session and be really overwhelmed, or kind of break it up into like smaller pieces. That way you're ready. So you will need a resume. You need transcripts of from all of the institutions that you have attended. Anything that counted towards your undergraduate degree, you have to include that in part of your transcript. You will need to provide the information for 2 references. It doesn't need to be a full-on letter of rec. It will just be a survey that they will complete. But just what we need for this portion of, or when you're first applying, is just their contact information, name, and how you know them. And then a complete MiMentor profile. Sorry about that. I have a typo in the presentation. We do have a series of 5 short answer questions, and then the Google form, which is the beast that I mentioned. And then I also want to note that there is some sensitive information that we ask for. We definitely want you to feel comfortable sharing and doing so honestly, because none of the information you share there has any bearing on the selection process. It is for data collection purposes only, so that way we can provide that information to our grantors, which is HCAI. All right. And then, right. So we have certain application requirements. You must be a California resident at the time of the application. This fellowship is about finding people from the community who want to work with the community to improve it. And so there have to be some ties to California. It's okay if you didn't live here, if you weren't born here, but if you've spent some amount of time here, if you've gotten to know your community, those are the kinds of applicants that we want, because they're the ones who know the community best and who are best able to support it. You must have completed an undergraduate program. I dropped this in the chat and I've gotten some questions about this. That means you must have an undergraduate degree by January 2024. Unfortunately, if you are going to be graduating next spring, you are not eligible for the Health Equity Fellowship, but you are eligible for the Health Equity Summer Internship, which hasn't launched yet, but when it is, you will know. It'll be on all the social medias and the Mentor app. And then as part of your onboarding process, you have to do health screenings, and you have to be in compliance with all vaccinations. And again, we really want to emphasize that this program is open to anyone, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, physical attributes, or protected veteran status. And so a quick little rundown of what this looks like for you on as applicants. You will submit your complete application with all of the extra materials, and then we will do our review. The selection committee will review all the candidates. We will then invite however many candidates will be interviewing for the respective sites. There are 5 fellows for each cohort, and so that we will have interviews for these 5 designated sites. When we extend invitations for interviews, we will be contacting your references. This is information you're going to get later on, so don't worry about it. But just so you have an idea of like what to communicate with the people who are providing your references, just so that we know like when to expect to hear from us. We will then extend offers once this process has been completed, all of our interviews, and we look to start onboarding and beginning on site in spring 2024. So those are the nitty gritties. And let's see. All right.
Now, a little bit about our team behind the scenes. We are led by Dr. Consuelo Casillas, who is our president and CEO of Alliance and Mentorship. That's the governing board of MiMentor. Then we have Jenny Clock Morel, who is our executive director of Alliance and Mentorship. We have Bianca Aceves Martin, who is our Health Equity Fellows Advisor. She's currently at MS4 at UC Riverside School of Medicine. And then we have myself, the program co-coordinator, and Stephanie Vasquez, who is also a program coordinator. And now I'm introducing you to our fellows. We have Alex Perez, who is placed at the South Central Family Health Center. We have Andrew Monge, who is placed at White Memorial Medical Center. We have Crystal Valencia Torres, who is placed at Los Angeles County Department of Health Services. Jessica Carrillo, who is placed at Cahuilla Health. And Kelly Aldana, who is placed at Kaiser Permanente Los Angeles Medical Center.
So I want to turn it over to the fellows real quick that allow them to give themselves a very brief introduction, and then we will go straight into Q&A. That way you can ask whatever questions you have. So let's just go in order of the photos and go ahead and unmute yourselves.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Alexandra Perez, but I go by my nickname Alex. As they mentioned, I was placed at the South Central Family Health Center. And right now I'm currently studying for the MCAT and hoping to apply to medical school in 2024. And as for my health equity project, I decided to start a blog at the clinic where I talk about communal stressors, really just what the community in South Central face with the stress in their everyday lives. And I related it to my own personal experiences. And beyond that, I was able to learn more about the development and communications aspect within the clinic's administration. And I can pass it over to Andrew.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Monge. I was placed at White Memorial Medical Center, where I was able to be part of a coordinator with the Medi-Cal Safety Net Coalition. Also, my personal project was enrollment concern with Medi-Cal this upcoming year. It's pretty much Medi-Cal will be available to everyone, mostly everyone. And I wanted to see the concerns of the undocumented and uninsured population, why or how to gain more access to get more people to sign up for Medi-Cal. Yep. And I'll pass it on to Crystal.
Hi everyone, my name is Crystal Torres Valencia. I was placed at the LA County Mobile Clinic team, and I had the opportunity to shadow a few doctors that work there, as well as participate in their street medicine teams, and work with a lot of our unhoused populations here in LA County. It's a great opportunity to get hands-on experience, and I guess I'll pass it over to Jessica.
Jess, you're muted.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Carrillo, but I go by Jess. I graduated from UC Davis in 2016, and I did a formal post-bac at Cal State East Bay. This is my 7th gap year, so yay for all the growth, gap years, and learning. No shame at all, embracing my journey as well as you all should as well. I was placed at Kulia Health Medical Center, which is actually the site I used to scribe at for the last 6 years. And yeah, so I got to shadow two amazing Latino emergency medicine physicians. I got to work alongside Dr. Alfredo Guerrero and Dr. Omar Guzman. I feel like the shadowing experience, the perspective was really, I felt it was really different compared when like scribing, because you actually had time to ask like questions. Both of these physicians, they really like if I had a question, they were very like thorough, and they would like explain like everything, like from learning EKGs to ultrasounds to MRIs to CT scans. So you would like go with them everywhere they would like evaluate a patient. And my health equity project is Dr. Guerrero and I, we came to a conclusion of collecting data on underserved populations. Like, why are these underserved patients, why are they experiencing a longer length of stay in the emergency department? So I'm going to pass it on to Kelly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Aldana. I was the fellow that was placed at Kaiser Los Angeles Medical Center, or LAMC, and I was partnered with the Complete Care Department. I graduated last year from UCLA, and I'm currently in the process of applying. I do want to highlight that I'm a transfer student, so shout out to any transfer students. And so in my time as the fellow at LAMC, I've been able to shadow doctors in the internal, family, and OB/GYN departments. And my project has been to outreach a total of 100 patients who have uncontrolled diabetes, and try to gauge where the care gaps exist and why there's a disproportionate amount of uncontrolled diabetes within the Latinx population. So that's been really enlightening, and I've learned a lot about the obstacles that exist when getting care. So yeah, it's been a really great experience.
Thank you, fellows. And I actually want to turn it back to one of our staff members, Bianca, who is a support system and part of the professional development that we have here at MiMentor. So take it away, Bianca.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bianca Seves Martin. I am a fourth-year medical student at UC Riverside and applying for residency right now. So my role with our fellows, with our wonderful fellows, is that I am a support system in their journey as a pre-med. So whether it's preparing MCAT schedules or preparing their applications, editing applications for med school, or now preparing for interviews. So I follow along with everyone, making sure everyone has the support that they need in their application cycle, or just preparing for the MCAT, or just figuring out their life. So I'm very proud of all of our fellows, and I'm excited to continue doing so. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So we are going to turn it over to our fellows. Let me stop screen sharing so I can see faces. We could do this several ways. We encourage you all to raise your hand and unmute yourself, but also we can like jump back and forth between anyone who wants to talk with a fellow, and then we can also take questions from the chat in the order that they come in. Not the chat, the Q&A section. I'm not going to be looking at the chat, so if your question gets lost, please drop it in the Q&A section. All right, so let's start with our brave soul, Jerry Peña.
Hello, thank you all for being here tonight. I was wondering, this could be answered by anyone, but when you apply, do you get selected to the region where you live in, or is it kind of like you choose when you apply, or how does that kind of like work in terms of the 5 different sites that you may be at?
So this fellowship does not provide housing or transportation or anything like that. So we look at what site you are near, and also you have an opportunity to kind of indicate that in any of your short answer responses. So we do it that way, but also when we first do that first round of evaluations, we're just looking to see if you're a good candidate. Once we invite you for an interview, that's when we start selecting a candidate for a specific site. So that is when the opportunity comes to really like say, I want to be at this site or that site. But if you're able to kind of like incorporate themes of where you want to be placed at in your writing, that can help to like build your case.
Gotcha. So we are allowed to like put in our essays like, oh, I'd prefer to be in San Diego because I grew up in San Diego versus like LA or whatnot. Gotcha. And
Exactly,
then
yeah.
I guess more for the fellows, but how does the shadowing kind of factor in to your regular schedule with your projects? Like, does it vary between each site as to like what doctors you shadow, or is it kind of like the relationship you make with the people there where you get those shadowing opportunities?
Yeah, like I can answer this one. Like, so for me, since I had a relationship already there, because I was a former scribe, I felt like I like learned more about like the doctors, and like they provided mentorship and whatnot. And I would always ask them or emailing, oh, like, hey, can you send me your schedule? Sometimes they would work like night shifts, like 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sometimes it would be like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I work from like 8 to 2, and sometimes I would go from my job to shadow from about 2 to 7, like depending how I felt, because it was a very long day. But sometimes I would shadow during the weekends as well if the provider's schedule, if they worked as well. So just depending on their schedule, like what shifts do they work.
I also wanted to chime in because my experience was very different. I was placed at South Central Family Health Center, and because I was under like the development and communications department, it was a little difficult, but I just had to speak to my mentor, and then he eventually got me to shadow. I was able to shadow 2 PAs within the clinic, but it's just you have to communicate it a lot, and yeah, my experience was different.
Anyone else from the fellows want to chime anything in?
I can chime in. Oh, go ahead, Kelly. I just wanted to say, I think it's important to like take initiative. And like from square one, that was like the reason I wanted to get more like shadowing opportunities and connecting with the doctors. So like the first day I was like, how can I shadow somebody? So I think it's important to take initiative and see how it can fit in your schedule. But again, it varies depending on the capacity of the site. But I think it's important to always bring it up and really just try to create that path for you yourself, which is really nice because it's again a way you can kind of hone in your own leadership skills and practice that advocacy work for yourself.
I was just gonna say the like bring up initiative, but you covered that beautifully. So.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to take a quick a question from the chat from Fatima, or actually, Fatima has her hand raised. Do you want to go ahead and just ask your question?
Sure. This I had another question that it's kind of following up what you guys were already explaining, and Alexandra kind of gave me a good idea. I'm a pre-PA student, and I see that a lot of fellows are pre-med. So my interest was kind of shadowing just the whole medical team. That's what I'm interested in getting exposure in, and also pre-PAs or PAs as well. But Alexandra mentioned that she was able to do that, and everyone says that if you're vocal about it, those opportunities come about. So that's really exciting to hear. Um, and then I can move on to my question that I had, which was with the 2 references that are required, are there any specifics for that? As in, it has to be a teacher or someone that you've worked closely with, or could it be just anyone?
Okay, I'll take this question. So anyone who can speak to your capacity to contribute to the fellowship in a professional setting. So you can't choose like your best friend. It has to be like someone, we want this to kind of be a practice run for health professional school. So choose someone that you would want to put in your PA application. Just so that we can start like building that rapport, getting that practice, have that ready. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you.
Just to add on, I think for me, yeah, I kind of use this application like to gain all my experiences together, and from the recommendations, I used I was part of MSR, so I used my MSR mentor, and I also used a doctor I worked with, so that kind of helped me out. So if any of you are an MSR, that's probably a good rec.
All right, let's go ahead and hop on to the next question from the chat. So Kim asked, do we get to choose our location? Sienna, do you want to take this one or?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take this. This was alluded to a little bit before, but it's a really important question. And we get asked a lot. Do we get to pick our location? In the application, you will have the opportunity to talk about the location, where you're from, and any preference that you may have. And additionally, we do take in consideration like where your address is, because we do not provide housing or transportation, unfortunately. So we definitely do try and pick a location for our fellows that is close to you and in line with what you've indicated in your prompts.
And I just want to add on one other bit of information. So the application, that Google document that you see with like lots of writing, there's a section that has the confirmed sites, and then there's a section that has the prospective sites. If you continue to scroll down, you get to have more information about each site. So you're able to get like some information from that section to see if that's like a match for you, and that's what you can speak to in your prompts. Okay, we will go on to the next question. This is from Fatima. Since this is a part-time fellowship, can current fellows talk about how they have managed their time and what other goals they have been working on in the meantime? I am hoping to continue taking classes next year. So fellows, take it away.
I could.
No, go for it.
Yeah, so during the fellowship, I studied for the MCAT. I took the MCAT. Towards the end of my fellowship, I actually was working part-time. I'm kind of like the in-between years as well. I already finished my post-bac, so all I really had to focus was on MCAT and then working part-time as well. But the fellowship does take a lot of time that you really need to focus on. It takes a lot of work, so it's not going to be, manage your time or yeah, you know, manage your time wisely.
I agree that it definitely does take a lot of time, but I think if you like prioritize, have a set schedule once you've been placed and can kind of talk to the people there. Once you have that set schedule, it's 20 hours. So you definitely have time to like squeeze other things. I took the MCAT. I had time to work on my application with Bianca support, who is amazing. And I was able to like continue to do hobbies. And it really just is about being able to manage your time and then squeezing it based off of the schedule you've set.
All right. Let's go ahead and hop on to the next one. And then also, we don't just have to, yeah, I was about to say, please raise your hands. We want to hear from you. So Jen, go ahead and unmute yourself and we'll hop back over to the Q&A section.
Yeah. Thanks, Steph, and thank you guys so much for like coming and like taking time out of your days to like host this event. So my question is like, how does the fellowship program encourage collaboration with like the local community organizations and like the healthcare providers? And like when taking on the like community engaged project, because I'm just curious, it sounds like I feel like I'm still a little unsure of what like when the fellows were sharing their project, like is it something that you collaboratively work on with like your provider and the community to like to choose which project, or say like if I have an interest in street medicine, like can I include that as well? Like is it more individually based like fellows, or is it something you get to work community based wise?
I think for me,
Okay.
sorry.
Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you. I was going to say, I think for me, it really just depends on what you want to do, what you want to base your project on. Like when I told my mentor I wanted to talk to more community, I was able to join like the outreach team and survey community, take interviews. Or when I told him I wanted to shadow, he connected me with the PAs within the clinic. So it really just depends on what you want to do and what you communicate. So it's like what my peers already said, like just take initiative and talk about what you want to do.
Yeah, so for me, pretty much what like Alex said, my Dr. Guerrero was like the main person that I'm working on this project. And so he asked me like what I wanted to focus on. And I had said that, oh, like the farm working community. And then it was between that and then like the project that we chose. So it was more like collaborative. And so yeah, and then we just came upon in the agreement of like that project, like but like specifically like why are like communities of color, like why are they experiencing well like a longer length of stay in the emergency department, since both of these physicians work in the emergency department, and just specifically like collecting data. So we had gone through like there's this like site that where we need to like sit down and collect that data, because the data is already there, but it's just a form of like how to format it and whatnot. So that's what happened at my site.
What I loved about the fellowship, it was very hands-on and you kind of created your own project yourself, right? So my project kind of like had this evolution. I kind of had the idea of starting with like why do day labor, like what's the access to healthcare for day laborers, to how do we get more people to sign up for Medi-Cal. So yeah, it's it's pretty much up to you to see what you want to do and see how the people around you could help you make that project come true or come alive. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for your question, Jen. Let's go ahead and take a question from the chat from Yaneli. Once you're placed and start working on a personal project, do you come up with a project from scratch? If so, what tips do you have to get ideas flowing?
For me, on the first day, my mentor made me watch 2-hour-long videos, and that's kind of what inspired my whole blog and why I wanted to like look at stress within South Central, just because I never really realized that that could be like a social driver of health. And then I know I experience stress a lot, so that just kind of drove my interest. And yeah, my mentor just kind of asked me like what I wanted to do, and watching those videos really inspired me. And just once you get to your placement, I think you'll kind of see like what everyone is doing, and I think that'll help you a lot.
Um, when I started at my location, I was kind of asked to like do background and to just see the way that other institutions had addressed any care gaps. And so mine really started with like doing a lot of background. And then they presented like a problem. There's care gaps that exist for this population of our patients. And so once they like we had that foundation set, they kind of then gave me like choice to see how I could help address it. And then I think one of the best ways to get those ideas flowing is just like not being afraid to say I don't know, or like ask questions, because they're like more than willing to answer and to explain and to help you learn. So yeah, I think just asking, have not being afraid to do so is the best way to get that going.
A tip I have is just use your own experiences, and see something that you can fix or see something that you're interested in. The way I started my project is because I worked at Home Depot, and during COVID, I was wondering how the day laborers were like, are they getting the vaccines or the COVID shot, or are they getting checkups? So, really, really look into what's around you. This is like what's in your community and what you could like fix or think you could think that could be better. So, yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We hope that helped, Yaneli, and we'll go ahead and hop on over to Cynthia.
Hi, sorry, I'm driving. It's a little loud. I apologize. But I also want to thank you all for being here tonight. And my question was kind of just bouncing off of one asked earlier today. Just regarding like the schedule, I'm currently working full time, and I would want to continue continue to make that. So, do you think that you mentioned having like a set schedule once you finish the program and it's part time? Do you think it would still like be feasible to do like work full time and do the fellowship, or like how is like the schedule arranged about that?
Thank you, Cynthia. So this is what I picked up on just in case anyone else had a hard time hearing. So I think she wanted to know a little bit about how time management works. Can you work full time? Can you work part time? How is it completing your other activities while completing this fellowship? Like time commitment specifically.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kelly. You got it.
No, you can talk to like having a job. I just no one else was gonna say anything, but
Yeah, for me it was a little bit different. Part of my fellowship was a little bit remote as well, so I was working online a lot and communicating when meetings were having to be done and stuff. Um, but it full time because like this is like a part-time job as well, and you're kind of at bay of like when the physicians are available at sometimes. So it would be kind of hard, if you're stuck 9 to 5 at work, and then the opportunity comes where like, hey, we need you here. Like, yeah, it would be kind of be hard to balance out.
And we have workshops too, at least twice a month, like from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And so I think it's attending workshops, it's very valuable. There's different speakers, amazing physicians from all walks of life that you get to see, and they really show like their like advocacy in their presentations, I felt like throughout this entire time. So yeah, so that other than like your project, having experience of shadowing, your shadowing experience, and then there's like workshops that we had throughout these 8 months.
Thank you, everyone. We hope that helps Cynthia continue to drive safely. We will take another question from the chat. From Anonymous, do you receive help in drafting a project proposal? Do you write a research paper in the end?
I could speak to that one. I'm currently writing, or currently writing a proposal, finishing up a proposal, and I did gain help from the doctors that I'm working with. The survey I created, the doctor I'm with helped me out with the survey as well. So there's help. You just need to ask for it, and yeah, I think mine. Hopefully, the goal for mine at the end is to have like a research or a what is the other one called? I forgot what it was called, but yeah, they'll help you out.
I also wanted to chime in that it's not like necessary that you have to write a research paper in the end, but through the fellowship, they also provide opportunities to go to present potentially your research if you do end up doing it. And yes, there is help if you do decide to go that route.
And I just want to shout out our team here. Bianca and Sienna both have experience with research. So we start here, start small. We will reach out to like our small community, get you into fighting shape. And then we're going to keep going bigger with like Dr. Casillas and our executive director, Jenny. And then we will take it maybe perhaps one step further to get like that final set of eyes and then send you off into whatever you hope to pursue. If you want to do a poster presentation, if you want to travel to a research symposium. I don't think it's symposium, but you know what I'm talking about, where people talk about research. Yeah, so if that's something you want to pursue, you just need to let us know and we will support you in that.
Yeah, and if I could add, so for the project, you don't have to do a paper or like an abstract or poster. But for applying to med school, PA school, it always looks good in your CV. So if you're interested, then we help you do it if you want to try going that route and submitting something. You don't have to do it, but we support you and we help you in any way that we can in making that happen. And a lot of this fellowship, you get what you put into it. So it's about if you really put in the time to your project, you can make like a poster and get good information. It's 20 hours, but if you really take the initiative and you ask for help and you ask for shadowing, then you get so much more out of it. The same way as in any medical school or PA school or public health, you have to advocate for yourself. So we're trying to teach you and give you those skills to do that.
I
Yeah,
think that was a wonderful way to close it off. Oh, go ahead, Jess. Go
oh,
ahead. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah,
No,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to add, like, a shout out to, yeah, like Bianca. She was in, if you are selected for this fellowship for next year, Bianca has been a very amazing mentor. She has always taken the time to, like every time I was like, Bianca, like I need you, like, do you have time to like read like my secondaries or whatnot? And yeah, like she's just very helpful and whatnot. So like use your resources. Like use like yeah, like don't be afraid to ask for help.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so let's let Sheila or Shayla take the floor, and then we will hop back over to the Q&A.
Thank you. Yes, it's Sheila May. I'm an MSR participant, so it's nice to see some familiar faces. Um, I'm particularly interested in getting my medical degree, but also doing public policy and health equity work. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about your research and after building those community partnerships and collecting data and all that knowledge, what are the next steps after you've collected this information? I know y'all had touched on creating a research paper, having those proposals. But are folks continuing to do that research project? Is there opportunity to continue having longevity in those communities? Like, what does that look like?
So the project that I'm doing, my mentor, his name is Dr. Flores, and really great mentor. And he's like, this project you're doing is just the first step of how you're, going to continue in your career. So this is just like the first footing. Like as we gain more experience and we learn what more we want to get into, we could slowly, do different research projects and stuff. So it's all up to you. You know, I'm pretty sure as you get into medical school, I'm not in medical school, that they'll help you, you figure out what route you want to go. So, yeah.
I think I would like to hear from Kelly because her opportunity actually, extended into something else if you feel comfortable sharing.
Sure. So like I said, I was collecting data to see patients' experiences. I just recently finished collecting that data, but I think there's still so much work to be done with that. And I was actually offered a position in the department that I was placed at. So I'm going to continue working with them. And then I know that a part of what I have already collected that highlights that there's like a care gap is what I will continue to be doing outreach for. So it definitely is just I know it's been mentioned, but like taking initiative, like they place you where I think we all work to be. So it's really important to just like take advantage of everything. They invite you to meetings, say yes if you can, like they just say yes to everything and yeah, it'll be good.
And then I think Alex has a similar story that I think would be nice to share if you're comfortable.
Yeah, so on my last day of the fellowship, my mentor took me to talk to the CEO, and after our conversation, he just asked me what my next steps were. I mentioned I wanted to do scribing, and we just kind of started talking, and we mentioned how it would be so beneficial for an FQHC to have a scribing program. So they're gonna actually start a scribe program where I'm gonna be the lead scribe.
Thank you all for sharing. All right, we're going to take a question from the Q&A and then Fatima will hop on over to you. So Anonymous asked, what is the ideal applicant for this fellowship? Sienna, do you want to add?
Yeah, I think that I'm definitely one of the things that makes you an ideal applicant is really aiming to serve underserved communities. That's huge. I think that is made evident in your responses, and we can really tell when that's your mission and that's your vision, and that's just aligned with our mission here at MiMentor. We strive to serve underserved communities, and you definitely have the opportunity to, as a part of the fellowship. We also prioritize. We also aim to serve students who are first generation, come from underrepresented in medicine backgrounds. Steph, do you want to give any specific requirements that we may have?
The only one that I can think of is to have some kind of ties to California. Yeah, so if you're, that it's not that you're not an excellent candidate if you lived somewhere else, but if you don't have ties to California, if you just kind of want to come here and then leave, like we want someone who's from this community or who like shows some kind of a connection to it, because this work that they're doing like with all of our fellows, it's not just now, it's something that's going to extend into the rest of their careers. So that is the ideal candidate.
I just wanted to add one thing I forgot. Also, being bilingual is a huge plus. We do really aim to build up and further develop our future bilingual healthcare providers. There is opportunity to further develop your skills. I mean, medical Spanish, for example, is very different from the Spanish that you speak every day. And there is opportunity to develop those skills, but that's definitely a huge plus.
Thank you for highlighting that, Sienna. Yeah, and that's actually something that we're going to. So we just started this. This was our first year. We had no idea what we were doing, and now we're like still, figuring things out. And something we're going to incorporate is a medical Spanish a component to this curriculum. So yeah, just wanted to tag that along. And then I also want to circle back to like ideal applicant. There's no check marks. There's no ideal. Take your story, let it be authentic to you, and own it. Andrew shared that he works at Home Depot, and he talked about that in his application, and he found a way to connect that. And I was like, yes, like I want to see this person succeed. I want to give them this opportunity. And so like, don't sell your experiences short. If you haven't been doing research and like shadowing and all the things, it's fine. If you've been working like in bars or in customer service or whatever it is, and you have to write about that, that's fine, because those are experiences. They're your experiences. Honor them. And but know that there has to be that like underlying theme of wanting to serve the underserved. So yeah. Okay, I think we beat this one to, I think we just answered everything that we could. So Fatima, go ahead.
So two questions. One very quick. I've heard like Andrew mentioned MSR, being a participant about it. I don't think I've heard about that before. So just quickly, if you could explain about that. But my second question was the estimated start time of the fellowship. I know it says spring, but I work in a research lab. I'm the lab tech, and I have a contract that should be for the next year. And my boss would be my reference. So if I want to ask him for that reference, I'd like to give him an idea of maybe when I would have to leave my job if that were the case.
Okay, so the first part was MSR. So MSR is a programming through MiMentor. It's medical school readiness. It is a 1 year long, it's a year-long program. We meet 1 to 2 times a month on Sunday mornings, and we break down the whole process of applying to medical school. So you have one workshop for personal statements, one for 15 activities. You get to practice your interviews. We talk about mental health, mental wellness. It's like this really huge all-encompassing program, because we want you to be like ready to go. So you will start the year before you apply. You have to apply during the summer. So this application is going to launch soon, I think like February, March of 2024. And you will start in fall of 2024. So like September, August, September-ish. And then when you will go through the whole year, you will put together your application. So when May 2025 comes around, you already have a complete application. You just need to copy and paste it in. Yeah. And then the other question was when when do you start? Because it says spring
This
2024, but not
fellowship,
specific.
yeah.
Yeah. So that really just depends on the site because of their onboarding process, but I think you can expect April 2024. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank
So
you.
there's a lot of questions about MSR, and I want to keep this space for the fellowship. I will stay after if you want to talk about MSR, just because I want to make sure that we get like our bang for our buck and respect people's time. So I'm going to go back over to the Q&A for Paul and then hop back over to Jocelyn. Let's see. So Paul asked, how has this fellowship deepened your understanding of mending health inequities in underserved communities?
I can go ahead. So I think the fellowship really shows you hands-on experiences as well as eye-opening experiences of um, how much like politics, business, like everything about medicine. It's not just like medical, like the teams, the street medicine team running. It's like there's a program staff in charge of everything. Like there's just a lot of hands on deck. I think that was super eye-opening and great to see because it's not like a one man team. It's a full team of different type of staff, and I think it shows you how much it takes to try to mend and help under-resourced communities. So for my site, we were working to help the unhoused populations, and I got to see hands-on like how much of a struggle it is to provide that support for our unhoused folks and like the different barriers and factors that play when supporting unhoused folks. So it's not just like it's just like a lot of things going on at once, and it's really like you get to see the whole social drivers, and I think that's like um really nice to see and a great experience for you to capture, especially if you want to be pursuing medicine and specifically if you want to work with under-resourced populations, just so you know, like um medicine needs advocates as well. So I think I learned that a lot through the workshops, through the mentors that I found. So I think it's super important. If you have like if advocacy is something that you love, I highly recommend this program because I think it kind of shows you how you can play both advocacy and medicine. So I hope that answers your question, but anyone else, feel free to chime in.
I think the workshops really did, and I guess before I was aware that there are disparities in health within communities of color, but I think that the workshops really like made it concrete in a sense. And so then you take this knowledge and then you go to your site and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I learned about during this workshop. And so then it gives you that like that perspective. For me, it was like the project itself also speaking to the community. I also got to see again everything that was highlighted in the workshop. So definitely a really great learning experience.
Also, I actually dedicated like a whole blog to like everything I learned about the inequities and like everything throughout the fellowship. So I'll just drop a link in the chat, and that kind of just sums up my whole experience throughout the fellowship.
Thank you, everyone. So we're only scheduled to go until 7. I am comfortable staying a little bit over to make sure that time that you get your questions answered. The fellows, if they are free, you're welcome to. If you have to go, please go. But I just want to give you all some last minute details. So our application deadline will be Monday, January 15th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So get that in before 5 p.m., like 4:59. And then if you have any additional questions that you perhaps didn't feel comfortable or they just come up later, you can email us at fellows@mimentor.org. So there was that. And then, sorry, y'all, I have so many screens that I don't know how to switch. Okay. And I just want to say thank you to everyone. This was actually this weekend, our cohort of fellows got together for a small, very intimate end of year celebration. And so I really want to drive this point home that MiMentor for me really means familia. And this process is just like very isolating, but like finding a community is so important, and you will get what you put into it. And I really want to continue to build that community. So this is just something that you can expect for next year if you are part of our cohort. So I will turn it back over to questions. I forgot where I was at, but yeah, when 7 o'clock comes, if you have to drop off, please drop off. We can email, but if you want to stay behind, please do so. So I think we were doing, I forgot who. Was it Jocelyn or the Q&A?
Jocelyn.
Okay, Jocelyn, go ahead.
So I'm Jocelyn, and I wanted to ask the fellows if there's any specific experience that they recall that stood out to them and how it supported their why. Just because I feel like medicine, yeah, I've been on the floor. I was a dialysis tech, and it's really hard. Like I can't imagine like being higher up. How did this support your why, and how did it keep you going?
For me, I think it supported my why, just learning more about how doctors are able to advocate and kind of showing how the career is very multifaceted. Um, you know, where for my fellowship, I kind of learned a little bit more about politics and policy, and just showing that, you know, becoming a doctor is more than just what happens in the visiting room, and being able to get people who don't have the access to healthcare kind of starts somewhere else. And that's kind of up to how you're able to guide, I guess. But yeah, sorry.
Thank you for answering.
All right. We have a question in the Q&A. What do the projects look like? How would you describe your workday? Also, is there flexibility with the schedule?
For me, I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe from like 8 to 2. And then I would do like some outreach events or just other events to make up the rest of my hours. So as long as I think as long as you're very transparent with your mentor about your capacity and still fulfilling your 20 hours at the end, I think you'll do fine.
My site was super flexible with hours that I could complete per week as well. So like if there was something else, I could make it up. Like I usually had scheduled being there Monday and Wednesday, and then if for whatever reason I couldn't be there, I would just talk to them beforehand, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you can make it up whenever you want to." So for me, it was just like coming in at like 9, and then I would stay till about 4 or 4:30.
Did you want to add anything, Jess? I saw you muted yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, for me, I was in the emergency department, so my hours like varied. I would always like have to, again, like what all my cohort said, I always like emailing, or like I felt like constantly texting, but I needed to remind my emergency medicine mentors like, hey, like can you like text me or email me your schedule? Like I said, some shifts were in the morning, 9 started from 9 or ended like to 3 or 6 to 2, or night shifts. So just again, just constantly taking the initiative to like remind them, because we're all human, we're all very busy, but yeah, those were like how my day looked like in the emergency department.
All right. And our final question from the Q&A, what skills should we brush up on to succeed at our sites?
I think we've touched on this throughout this meeting, but this fellowship is gonna really help you grow your leadership and skills in really taking initiative on things because you're the one that's gonna drive your own project. You have to talk to your mentor, let them know what you want to do. So I think just always remember to advocate for yourself, which is one of the biggest things I learned throughout this fellowship.
I think that I think that sums it up beautifully. All right, everyone. So we got through everything and right on time, actually, 7. So if you have any other questions, please email us. We have email fellows@mimentor.org. You can find that also in the application. The application, tiny girl. That's the application. Remember, deadline is January 15th. And if, yeah, that's all that we have for you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for coming. Good luck to the next cohort.
Thank you.